Today's topic is domination in graphs, theory and applications. So moving on to the definition of domination. A subset S of vertex set V is called a dominating set if every vertex U in V is either a member of S or is adjacent to a vertex in S. In short, the closed neighborhood of S is V. I assume that the concept of neighborhood is clear to all of you. Otherwise, I'll just explain. Neighborhood of a vertex is the collection of all vertices which are adjacent to it. And closed neighborhood means that vertex is also included together with its neighbors. For a set, the neighborhood means the union of all neighborhoods of each of the vertex present in that set. So every vertex is either in S or is adjacent to S, means the closed neighborhood of S is the full vertex set V. So that is a dominating set. A dominating set is minimal dominating if none of its proper subsets are dominating. That is, if delete one vertex from S, S is no longer a dominating set. In that case, we say that S is minimal dominating. And the domination number, denoted by gamma of G, is the minimum cardinality of a dominating set in a given graph G. So let me show you some examples. Here you can see a 5 by 5 grid. For better understanding, I have given colors to the vertices. Just look at the blue vertices. These blue vertices is my set S. So any other vertex, all other vertices I have given color red. Every vertex which is colored red is adjacent to a vertex which is colored blue. Say, if you take this red vertex, it is adjacent to this blue vertex. Like that, you can check for each of the red vertices, it will have a blue neighbor. So every red vertex is adjacent to a blue vertex. Therefore, this collection of all blue vertices gives a dominating set of this 5 by 5 grid. This example is for all those chess lovers. This is an 8 by 8 chessboard, and I have placed 5 queens in this chessboard in such a way that every box in the chessboard is now monitored by a queen. So this is called, this is a very famous queen domination problem in an 8 by 8 chessboard. Here is the very famous Peterson graph. You can see that the blue vertices gives you a dominating set. Take any red vertex. You can see that it is adjacent to a blue vertex. Like that, you can check for each of them. So this example I have included to give you an idea regarding difference between minimal and minimum. Same graph I have drawn 3 times. Take the first example. You have 2 red vertices. All the white vertices are adjacent to any one of the red vertex, and hence these 2 red vertices gives you a dominating set. If you remove one red vertex from that set, it is no longer a dominating set. So these 2 vertices forms a dominating set of this graph. What happens if we replace this red vertex by this one? That is the second case. Still, you can see that all white vertices are adjacent to at least one red vertex. So this is also a dominating set. So the dominating set need not be unique. Again, move on to this third case. Here I have 3 red vertices and all the white vertices are adjacent to at least one red vertex. So these 3 forms a dominating set. What about minimality? If I remove this top red vertex from the set, will it be a dominating set? You can see that this particular vertex and this neighbor are not dominated by these two red vertices. So if I remove this one, the set is no longer a dominating set. Similarly, if I remove this vertex, all other vertices are dominated, but this vertex himself cannot be dominated by any other vertices. So if we remove this vertex, that won't be a dominating set. A similar thing happens for this red vertex also. If this red vertex is not included, then the remaining two red vertices can dominate the remaining white vertices, but not this one. So these three vertices forms a minimal dominating set. I have already told you that the domination number is the cardinality of a minimum cardinality of a minimal dominating set. So here we are having a minimal dominating set of cardinality 3, but that doesn't mean that the domination number is 3. As in this case, you can see that we are able to find a minimal dominating set of cardinality 2, which is less than the cardinality of this minimal dominating set. So that is the difference between minimal and minimum. Here it is, this third one is minimal, but this third one is minimal, but not minimum. If the cardinality of a minimal dominating set is exactly the domination number, such sets are called gamma sets. So here is an exercise for you. I just want to make sure that all of you are not sleeping. At least some of you are not sleeping. Just find the domination number of this cube and post your answers in the chat box. Most of you have given the answer 2, which is right. As you can easily verify, take any two corner vertices opposite to the diagonals. So if you take this vertex, it will dominate 1, 2, 3. These three vertices, and take this one also. That will dominate the remaining 3 vertices. So if you take one vertex each from, I think some of the participants has unmuted their mic. Please mute. Otherwise, I won't be audible. Okay, thank you for muting. So if you take one vertex each from the opposite ends of a diagonal, what you get is a dominating set of the cube. And this is the minimum possible, and hence the domination number of cube is 2. So let us have a quick look on what are the applications of domination number. One of the major application is in security systems. If you have a system that can be mathematically modeled using graphs, and you want the entire system to be monitored, then we need to do it in a minimum cost, so that with minimum number of monitors, the entire system is under control. There, a dominating set comes into picture. You can see, say for example, in a mall, you want to place securities in such a way that every corridor and every corners are observed. Then we need to take the underlying graph. Every corner will be a vertex and every corridor will be an edge, and we need to place securities in corners so that every corridor and corners are monitored by them. This is actually fine. Participants, please mute your mic. Participants, please mute your mic. Otherwise, I won't be audible, not only to you, but to all others. So please keep your mic muted. Okay. So here we are actually finding the domination number of the underlying graph. Similarly, in communication networks, if we want to transmit a communication to an entire network, and we need to do that by placing minimum number of transmitters, again we are looking for the domination number of the underlying graph. And it's having applications in coding theory also. If we are forming a code from n alphabets, p taken at a time. Then, if I go into the details, it is a bit complicated. Then a transmission code is again equivalent to finding a dominating set with some specific properties. Then in clutters and block clutters, again what we are finding is the domination number of the underlying graph. And in theory of matchings also domination is applied. That may require a bit explanation. If we are trying to find a perfect matching of a graph, it is equivalent to find the domination number of the line graph. Line graph is a graph in which every edge of G is a vertex and two vertices are made adjacent to each other if they are incident on a common vertex. So perfect matching is nothing but the domination number of the line graph. And in social network analysis, nowadays domination is applied very much to find the most influential persons, how to spread an information at a particular speed so that it reaches the entire community. In all those cases, we are finding the domination number of the social network. Now moving on to variations of domination number. I already told you that domination number is very much applied in security systems. So in a security system, the places to be observed are all vertices and two places are joined by a line if one place can be observed from the other point, and we will be placing security officers in such a way that every place is monitored by a security officer. But there is a problem. Every place is monitored by a security officer, but the place where the security officer stands is monitored by himself. If an attack happens at that particular point and the security officer fails, the other securities may not be aware of that. In that case, we move on to the total domination number. The concept of total domination number is that a vertex can dominate all its neighbors, but not itself. In the case of the definition of dominating set, the thing was that every vertex is either in S or is adjacent to a vertex in S. So here the case is a bit different. Every vertex is adjacent to a vertex in S. It is not sufficient if the vertex itself is present in S. That has to be dominated by some other vertex which is present in S. Clearly, in this case, the open neighborhood of S will be the entire set V. So that is to tighten security. When moving to military, we need even more stronger security measures. So we were talking about paired domination number. That is, it was related to the buddy pair concept. So every vertex outside S must be adjacent to some vertex in S. And apart from that, there is a perfect matching within S. That is, every vertex in S is related to some vertex in S itself. And these two are supposed to take care of each other. Okay. So that simply means that inside the dominating set, there is a perfect matching. If you are able to find such a dominating set, then that is called a paired dominating set, and the minimum possible cardinality of such a set is called the paired domination number. Another thing is connected domination number. Again, in security system, we can realize why such a thing is needed. We have placed securities at certain positions so that the entire system is monitored. And a security observes a thief doing some theft and running away. So he needs to alert all other securities. For that, now we have wireless system and all. But if two securities are having a wireless, means they are connected to each other, right? So we not only need a dominating set, but also require a connection between the vertices which dominate the entire system. In that case, the concept of connected domination number comes into picture. So here again, S is a dominating set and the subgraph induced by S is a connected graph. And the minimum possible cardinality of such a connected dominating set is called the connected domination number. Another thing is independent domination number. This is when the management requires some secrecy. That is, securities are to be placed and every place is to be monitored, but the management want to make sure that these securities do not communicate with each other. The only communication is with the management. They do not communicate with each other. So here again, yes is a dominating set and the underlying graph is independent. That is, no two vertices of S are adjacent to each other. And the minimum cardinality of such an independent dominating set is called the independent domination number. So before moving further, let us just go back and find the check what will be this domination parameters for this cube. As we have already said, the opposite vertices, the corner-wise opposite vertices forms a dominating set. And you can see that these two vertices are not adjacent to each other. So the independent domination number is again 2 in this case. The dominating set.
Is the screen is not visible now?
You can just search in the people list and you can see that Aparna Ranjit presenting. Click on that and pin to that screen. Then you can see mine. Even if someone else is presenting screen, you can see mine. So the minimal dominating set in this case is an independent dominating set also. So independent domination number in this particular case is 2 itself. But what about connected domination number? You can see that there is no connection between these two vertices. I am not going back to that previous slide. I will just explain. But you can see that the total domination number and connected domination number is greater than 2. Independent domination number and domination number in the case of cube is 2, but connected and total domination numbers are 4 in the case of cube. So you can see that in this particular case, total domination number and connected domination number and paired domination number also are greater than domination number and independent domination number. Regarding the domination number case, every other set is also dominating with some additional property. And for domination, we are looking for minimal. So gamma of G will be always less than or equal to all these parameters. Apart from these 4 domination parameters, many new domination parameters were also introduced and studied. In fact, thousands of them are there. What is the motivation behind defining such domination parameters? The root cause lies in a paper published in 1990 by Basco and Tuza. In that paper, they have given a problem. It states like this: let P be a property of a vertex set in graphs. Characterize all graphs having a dominating set satisfying this property P. Okay. In the case of independent domination number, this property is that the underlying set is independent. In the case of connected domination number, the property was the underlying set induces a connected graph. So maybe that is why Basco and Tuza were motivated to introduce such a definition. But I'm sorry to say that this definition was misused. Without any additional motivation, just cutting this paper, thousands and thousands of domination parameters were introduced and studied, which were absolutely of no use. So anyone who is planning to do research in graph theory, please keep in mind whenever you introduce a new parameter, a new domination parameter, make sure that you have a definite motivation behind that. Don't just change some condition and introduce new parameters. Okay. Uh, in fact, we ourselves have introduced two new parameters based on this same paper, namely co-graphic and global co-graphic domination number, but we do have applications for that. And regarding new domination parameters, some recent domination parameters which are of less than 10 years of age, the one which I found most interesting is the Roman domination number. It is having some connection with the World War. During World War, Emperor Constantine had to decide where to station his four field army units in such a way that he can protect all the 8 regions. This means finding a dominating set. But the Emperor Constantine was not satisfied with just finding a dominating set. There are many possibilities if you are just looking for a dominating set. He had some additional strategies. His conditions were that he need to place his army units, 4 army units, in such a way that every region is either protected by its own army unit or it is securable by a neighbor with 2 army units, one of which can be sent towards this unprotected area if some riot happens. Okay. So someone has unmuted the mic. Please mute that. Okay. So this was the strategy of Roman Empire during World War. And Ian Stewart in 1999 published this strategy as a scientific paper. The paper title was Strategy of Emperor Constantine for Defending the Roman Empire. This paper was published in Science America in the year 1999. Based on this, a graph-theoretic formulation of the same was done by Cocktail and a group of people, which gave birth to the concept of Roman domination number. The paper titled Introducing the Concept of Roman Domination was published in Discrete Mathematics in 2004. So I'll give the technical definition. In a graph G, a Roman dominating function is a function defined on the vertex set. So the domain is the vertex set and the range is the set 0, 1, 2. The condition is that every vertex which is assigned value 0 has a neighbor which is assigned value 2. Connect with the strategy of Roman Empire. In a region, if there is an army unit, that is the value assigned to V is 1, then it is okay. If it is 2, then again it is okay. It is having its own army unit. It is 0 means there is no army unit placed there. So such positions are to be secured by a neighbor where there are 2 army units. That is, every vertex which is assigned value 0 must be adjacent to a vertex which is assigned value 2. So that strategy is now mathematically formulated as Roman dominating function. The weight of a Roman dominating function is the sum of all values assigned to its vertices and the minimum weight of all possible Roman dominating functions. In short, we call them RDF, Roman dominating function. So the minimum possible weight of an RDF is the Roman domination number of that graph. So here is an example. This is a simple graph on 6 vertices. The number written inside the vertex denotes the value assigned by the function to that vertex. So the vertices which are assigned 0, as you can see, are adjacent to the vertex which is assigned 2. And there is one vertex which is assigned value 1. So it can protect itself. The vertices which are assigned 0 are protected by the vertex which is assigned 2. And hence, this is a Roman dominating function. And it is easy to prove that this is the minimum possible case. And hence, for this graph, the Roman domination number is 3. Now, you can see that vertices which are given non-zero values clearly gives you a dominating set. So the domination number will be definitely less than the Raman domination number. Also, I take a dominating set and assign value 2 to all the vertices which are present in that dominating set. Then what I get is a Raman dominating function. So when we are looking for minimal case, the minimum will be definitely less than that. So 2 into gamma of G is a trivial, obvious upper bound for gamma R of G. So the value of gamma R of G lies between gamma of G and twice gamma of G. And these two parameters are equal only for trivial graphs. That is graphs for which there are only vertices and no edges. Only for those graphs, these two parameters are equal. And for the graphs which attain upper bound, there are a few. So the graphs which attain the upper bound are called Raman graphs. Why I found this particular domination parameter interesting is that from this domination parameter getting motivated, many new domination parameters were introduced with definite applications. Let us see which are them. So the variations of Raman domination, here I have listed 4. In fact, there are many more. The first thing was weak Raman domination. This was to reduce the cost but still keeping the protection. The strategy of Roman Empire was that every region where there is no army unit is protected by a region which has 2 units, so that they can send 1 unit to this place when a riot is there. Okay, so why should there be 2 army units? There is only 1 army unit, but even after sending that particular army unit to this particular region, in the new setup, still every region is protected. That will do, right? That is the concept of weak Raman domination number. That is, every vertex which is assigned value 0 is adjacent either to a vertex which is assigned 1 or to a vertex which is assigned 2. And if we reassign the values by giving 1 to this f of v and subtracting 1 from its neighbor, if the resultant function is still dominating, then that is enough. Such concept give birth to the new parameter weak Raman domination number. So here the protection level is kept, but the cost is minimized since the number of army units can be reduced. But as you know, the strategy of Roman Empire failed. So in fact, we need to strengthen that protection. So that gave rise to the remaining new domination parameters. The next one is total Raman domination, as the name indicates, and from the concept of total domination number, we can easily guess. The total Raman domination number means a unit cannot protect itself. It can protect only its neighbors. In that case, what we get is total Raman domination number. And if we do not want interactions between the army units, then comes independent Raman domination number. And the other thing is double Raman domination number. There, the protection is even doubled. Anyway, the strategy was a failure, so we need to increase the protection level. So that was the motivation for double Raman domination number. It is a stronger and more flexible protection without creating much additional cost. So I'll give you the technical definition of double Raman dominating function. Here again, the domain is the vertex set itself, and the range set is the set 0, 1, 2, 3. Earlier it was 1, 2. Now it is 1, 2, 3, up to 3. And here we have 2 conditions. Every vertex which is labeled 0 must be adjacent either to a vertex which is labeled, either 2 vertices which are labeled 2 or a vertex which is labeled 3. And every vertex which is assigned the value 1 must be adjacent at least to one vertex of value greater than or equal to 2. Either it can be 2 or 3. It must have a neighbor of this property. So here 2 conditions are there for for vertices which are labeled 0 and for vertices which are labeled 1. Again, the weight of a DRDF, double Raman dominating function. In short, we call them as DRDF, is the sum of weights of all the vertices, and the minimum possible weight is called double Raman domination number. I am giving you the same example. At places where I have placed 2, I have replaced by 3, and 1 is replaced by 2. So this gives me a double Raman dominating set, but this need not be the case always. Here you can see that all vertices which are labeled 0 are adjacent to a vertex which is labeled 3, and there are no vertices which are labeled 1. So this is ADRDF, and in fact this is the minimal one, but please note that it is not necessary that this is the only possible way of doing it. There are more ways. Very much like a single graph having more than one dominating set, a single graph can have more than one minimal double Raman dominating function. Again, the same strategy as in the case of Raman domination works here also. So every vertex in a dominating set given the label 3 gives a double Raman dominating number, double Raman dominating function, and hence the double Raman domination number is bounded below by 2 gamma of G and above by 3 gamma of G. And the only graphs which attain the lower bound are the complete bipartite graph K2Q. That means 2 vertices in one set and Q vertices in the other set. Both these sets are independent, and there is every sort of adjacency between these 2 sets. That is the complete bipartite graph K2Q. For that, the lower bound is attained. That is, gamma dr of G is equal to twice gamma of G. And the graphs which attain the upper bound are called double Raman graphs, the characterization problem of which is still open. So here are some non-cases. If a graph has a universal vertex, then the domination number is 1, because that single vertex can take care of all other vertices. In that case, if we assign the value 3 to that particular vertex, we get a double Raman dominating function, and that is going to be the minimum possible. So if a graph has a universal vertex, then the double Raman domination number of that graph is 3. Similarly, if we are taking a totally disconnected graph, there is no edges. So every vertex has to take care of itself, and hence we need to assign the value 2 to each of these vertices. And for a totally disconnected graph, the double Raman domination number will be 2n, where n denotes the number of vertices. For paths, for cycles, for complete bipartite graphs, and for many other classes, the value of double Raman domination number has already been computed. So now, apart from various types of domination parameters, let me move on to a major problem in domination theory, without which any class on domination won't be complete. This is a very famous conjecture known as Wissing's conjecture. To understand Wissing's conjecture, first you need to know Cartesian product of 2 graphs. So let me give you that definition first. Take group 2 graphs, G and H. G is having vertex set V1 and edge set E1. H is having vertex set V2 and edge set E2. Then the Cartesian product is denoted by G box H. The vertex set is the collection of all ordered pairs in which first vertex is taken from G and second vertex is taken from H. And 2 vertices are made adjacent to each other. Say the vertices V1, V2 and V1 dash, V2 dash are made adjacent to each other if V1 equal to V1 dash and V2 is adjacent to V2 dash, or V1 is adjacent to V1 dash and V2 is equal to V2 dash. In these 2 cases, we draw adjacencies. So let me show you an example. I'm taking Cartesian product of a triangle and an edge. You can see that there are 2 copies of triangle and the number of vertices in this second graph is 2. Okay, so we get n of h copies of the first graph, and you can see 3 copies of h here. That is, h was a single h, so 3 copies of h are here, and the number of vertices of the starting graph was 3. So Cartesian product can always be viewed as layers of the component graphs. So if I am taking G box H, there will be layers of G, say, placed horizontally. How many layers will be there? That depends upon the number of vertices in H. And we will have vertical layers of the copy of the graph H. Horizontal and vertical can be interchanged, no issues. And we will have copies of H. How many copies? It depends upon the number of vertices in G. Here you have another example. So this is the starting graph G. You can, if you give a close examination, you can see that there are 4 copies of this graph in the second diagram. And this is the second graph H. If you have a horizontal scan, you can see that there are 5 copies of this second graph in the product. So this is the concept of Cartesian product of 2 graphs. So now let me show you, before stating the conjecture, let me show you Wissing. So here you have a picture of V.G. Wissing. He is an Ukrainian mathematician. Why his picture is that this is a rare piece. You can't get many pictures of Wissing. If you want to say just, since the time is running out, I'm not going into the details. You just Google and you can see that it is not going to be easy to get this picture. Only this single picture of Wissing is available. He was under house arrest. Can anyone guess why? Just because of the reason he was doing research in mathematics and publishing papers in mathematics. That was considered as a crime. So he was under house arrest in Ukraine. And he is an Ukrainian mathematician. So let me move on to the conjecture. The conjecture states that the Cartesian product of 2 graphs G and H is always greater than or equal to the product of Cartesian product of the domination number of the underlying graphs. That is, gamma of G box H is always greater than or equal to gamma of G into gamma of H. This problem was posed by Wissing in 1968, and in 2018 it passed the Golden Jubilee. Still, the conjecture is open. And recently I heard a rumor that there is all chance that this conjecture is false. I don't know for sure why such a claim is there. We have to wait and see for research papers to come up. So there is all chance that the conjecture will be either settled or disproved. So let us wait for that. Okay. And now some results related to, in general, it is difficult to solve the conjecture. So some special cases. A particular graph G is said to satisfy Wissing's conjecture if G together with any other graph H satisfies Wissing's inequality. That is, we have fixed G and gamma of G box H is greater than or equal to gamma of G into gamma of H for every other graph H. Then we say that this particular graph G satisfies Wissing's conjecture. In a class of graph, if every graph present in that particular class satisfies this property, we say that that particular class of graphs satisfies Wissing's conjecture. So one trivial class is the class of all graphs for which the domination number is 1. Domination number is 1 means there is a universal vertex. So the class which we are considering is the collection of all graphs with a universal vertex. In that case, gamma of G is 1. So the result reduces to proving that gamma of G box H is greater than or equal to gamma of H, because gamma of G is 1. And we have n of G copies of H, and it is easy to prove that at least gamma of H vertices are required to dominate this n copies of H. At least gamma of H vertices are required. And hence, that case can be easily proved. So, for the class of graphs for which domination number is 1, the Wising's conjecture is settled. Similarly, for many other classes also, the conjecture has been settled. In 1979, German and Berkelein proved the result for all graphs for which the domination number is 2. And in 1979, in the same paper itself, a special case subclass of trees for which gamma of G equal to rho 2 of G. That particular class also, they have proved that Wising's theorem, Wising's conjecture holds good. And for cycles, Jacobson and Kinch proved in 1986 that Wising's conjecture is true. And in 1995, Hartnell and Rall proved that the conjecture holds for a particular class of graphs for which gamma of G equal to rho 2 of G plus 2. Rho 2 of G is another graph parameter, the details of which I am not explaining due to time constraint. Those who are interested can contact me personally. So such partial results proving Wising's conjectures for particular classes of graphs are known. Another way of attacking the problem is the conjecture states that gamma of G box H is greater than or equal to gamma of G into gamma of H. So Clark and Swan proved that we are not sure whether it is greater than the product gamma of G into gamma of H, but we can prove that it is at least half of gamma of G into gamma of H. So they proved gamma of G box H greater than or equal to half of gamma of G into gamma of H. Again in 2004, Sun proved that the conjecture holds good for all graphs for which the domination number is 3. For caudal graphs, the result was proved in 2009, and still works are going on to prove for at least for particular classes of graphs or to increase the value of C. Up to C equal to 1 by 2, they have proved. Try to prove that gamma of G box H is greater than or equal to 3 by 4 times gamma G into gamma H. That means the bound is improved. Even if you do that, that is also appreciated. And now, the graphs which satisfies the equality in Wising's conjecture, they are also interesting. So this is also an open problem. Characterize graphs G and H which satisfies gamma of G box H equal to gamma of G into gamma of H. Here you have two infinite classes. For these two infinite classes, it has been proved in 1985 that equality holds in Wising's conjecture. So there are infinitely many graphs for which the equality holds, but the characterization problem, that is find all graphs G and H for which such an equality holds, is still an open problem and calls for research. Another thing I already pointed out, gamma of G box H is greater than or equal to 1 by 2 into gamma G into gamma H is already been proved. So try to improve the value of C. Find any C which is greater than 1 by 2 and which will be obviously less than 1 so that such a inequality holds. So if you can find a better value of C, that is also interesting. And what about other graph products? Wising's conjecture is related to Cartesian product. Does similar inequality hold for other graph products? That was also an interesting question and settled for certain classes of graphs. Rall and Nowatzki in 1996 disproved for tensor products. That is, the Wising's type inequality does not hold for tensor products. And myself and my guide, Professor Rampat Vijayakumar in 2007 proved that such an inequality will not hold for strong product. That is disproved for strong product. In fact, in the case of strong product, the reverse inequality holds. That is, the domination number of strong product of G and H is less than or equal to the product of domination numbers of G and H. Just the reverse case of a Wising's type relation. For other domination parameters, this was other products. And the conjecture was related to domination number. What about total domination number, upper domination number, paired domination number, such other domination parameters? That was also an open problem. And in 1996, the conjecture has been proved for upper domination number. That is, upper domination number satisfies Wissing's type inequality, whereas for independent domination number and total domination number, and even for paired domination number, such an inequality does not hold. And again, we have proved that for global domination number, co-graphic domination number, and global co-graphic domination number, Wissing's type inequality does not hold. Again, I have explained in detail Raman domination and double Raman domination. That is why I am showing these two results also. For these two parameters, the result has neither been proved nor disproved. That is, whether they satisfy Wissing type inequality or not is still unknown. But the value of C are obtained in both cases. Say for double Raman domination number, that is in fact the work of one of my students, Anu, from St. Peter's College. She had proved that in the case of double Raman domination number, gamma dr of G box H is greater than or equal to 1 by 6 times gamma dr of G into gamma dr of H. The value of constant C in that case is 1 by 6. Don't get confused. 1 by 6 is less than 1 by 2. That's true. But here the domination parameter is different. For usual domination number, you have to find the C which is greater than 1 by 2. In the case of double Raman domination number, you have to find a C which is greater than 1 by 6, or prove that it can be equal to 1 by 6 times gamma dr of G into gamma dr of H. And also for these two parameters, it has been proved that the Raman domination number of the Cartesian product of G and H is greater than or equal to the product of domination numbers of G and H. Wissing's type means we need to take product of Raman domination number of G and H. So that part is still open, but for both these parameters, the Raman domination number and the double Raman domination number of the Cartesian product is greater than gamma G into gamma H. The product gamma G into gamma H. So here are some open questions. Not all, a few. Identify special classes of graphs for which Wissing's conjecture holds good. Find a better value of C. In the case of domination number, it is 1 by 2. In the case of Raman, it is 1 by 3. And in the case of double Raman, it is 1 by 6. Find better values of C such that Wissing's type of relation holds good. And identify any domination parameter which satisfies Wissing's type inequality. We have seen that for most of the parameters, it has been disproved. Wissing's type inequality does not hold. That is what we have obtained, except for the upper domination number. So try to find domination parameters for which Wissing's type inequality holds good. This may throw some light in proving the conjecture itself. That is why such problems are interesting. So we have already exceeded 12 minutes. So I'm stopping my presentation here. Thank you for your patient hearing, and I'll be available for the discussion session. I'm stopping sharing my screen.
Thank you, Aparna, for such a nice presentation. On behalf of all, I sincerely extend gratitude to you, Aparna. Thank you so much for the wonderful presentation and for valuable information for the research scholars especially.
Before concluding, you can ask if anyone is having any questions.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Yes, please.
I'm Dr. Sivamani from Tamil Nadu, ma'am.
Yes.
Is there any special real-time application for this Roman domination, ma'am?
Yes, the motivation for Roman domination was from the strategy of Roman Empire, and that strategy can yet be used. So it's for security measures. Am I audible?
Yeah, it's audible, ma'am.
Yeah. So the application of Roman domination is in security systems.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Is it possible to apply this domination for the fuzzy graphs, ma'am?
Yes, you can extend it to the definition of fuzzy graphs.
But one thing is troubled for the extension, that is the boundary conditions, ma'am.
Yeah, conditions you have to frame wisely. That is the challenge. While extending to fuzzy graphs, how will you reframe the condition? That makes the extension challenging, but it is possible.
Thank you very much, ma'am. I will try, ma'am.
Yeah, all the best.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
Good evening, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
I am Dr. Mageswaran. Hello, ma'am.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I am Dr. Mageswaran.
Yes, please.
My question is, can I connect domination concept with the topological space concept, ma'am?
With topological space concept.
Topological space.
Actually, there is a branch called topological graph theory.
Oh, okay, ma'am.
Okay. In topological graph theory, from a topology, we can find an underlying graph.
Okay, ma'am.
And for such structures, definitely you can study domination number.
Okay, madam. Excellent presentation, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Connected with algebraic graph theory. I think that is a question to me. Towards algebraic graph theory, domination and algebraic graph theory, they are not, in fact, they are not directly connected. But in algebraic graph theory, there is a branch called energy of graph. That comes under, you have to find the adjacency matrix, then find its eigenvalues and the modular sum that gives the energy of a graph. And there is a relation between energy of a graph and domination number. A bound exists connecting these two parameters. In that way, we can connect domination number to algebraic graph theory.
Ma'am, I have a question.
Yes, please.
Ma'am, actually, you have proved the Ising conjecture for your domination property, is it so?
I haven't proved, I disproved. In fact, reverse inequality holds for strong product.
Actually, the Ising conjecture is for the coloring of vertices, ma'am.
Not for coloring of vertices, it's regarding the domination number of two graphs and the Cartesian product. That is, the conjecture states that the domination number of Cartesian product of two graphs is greater than or equal to the product of domination numbers of the underlying graphs. Mathematical equation is gamma of G box H is greater than or equal to gamma G into gamma. That is the statement, not related to coloring. But similar thing can be done for chromatic number also.
Yeah, this will be satisfied only for Cartesian product, is it so?
It is an open question. Whether Cartesian product satisfies this conjecture is an open, this inequality is an open question.
Oh, it is a conjecture, it is not proved so far.
It is not proved so far. And there is all chance that the conjecture gets disproved also. Research work is going on in that direction also, trying to disprove the conjecture.
Yeah, for strong product also, this might be a conjecture.
For strong product, we have already settled. In fact, reverse inequality holds. That is, for strong products, gamma of strong product of G and H is less than or equal to the product of gamma of G and gamma of H. That we have already proved. That part we have already proved.
Yes, thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. There is another question regarding how domination over edges. H domination number is there. The H dominating set is a subset of the edge set, so that every edge is either present in that set or is incident to an edge which is present in this set. That gives the edge domination number. And again, that is related to studying the domination number of line graphs. Between edge domination number and domination number of line graphs, there is a relation. Then domination number of a graph and domination number of its line graph. Such studies are also there. What happens if the domination number of G is A? What about the domination number of L of G? There are studies in that direction. And open problems also are there in that direction. Not only for line graph, but also for many other graph operators. Say for click graph, for Gallet graphs. So many other graph operators also, similar studies are going on. Specific example of applications of domination in coding theory. To give a specific example of application of domination coding theory, it's difficult. It needs another lecture. We need to start from basically from codes, but research papers are available. You can just Google domination plus coding theory. You will get papers on that. Okay, so it's not that domination number is directly applied, but in coding theory, finding something is equivalent to finding a dominating set with some specific properties. To explain in detail, it will take time. It's already fuzzy Roman domination exists. I'm not sure about it. Extensions of domination number in fuzzy graph theory is there, but I'm not sure about whether fuzzy Roman domination number already exists or not. There is all chance that it will such papers will come soon. If not yet published, it will come soon.
Madam,
Yes, sir.
this is Venkatakrishnan
Yes, sir.
from Tanjavur.
Yes, sir.
You see, you had concentrated on the Cartesian product of graphs. Okay.
Yes.
Is there anything, any other thing that we can do using this domination, namely finding out the bounds?
There are so many. There are so many results. At least 10,000 papers in domination. A basic reference can be text by Hedeknimi, Hines, and Slater. The text name of the text is Fundamentals of Domination in Graphs.
Okay.
Fundamentals of Domination Graphs. There are many thousands and thousands of papers in domination theory.
Okay.
And connecting domination to other parameters like diameter, order, independence number. So many results are there.
Can we also connect coloring with this?
Sorry?
Coloring number with domination.
Yes, there is relation between chromatic number and domination number. Results already exist in literature.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Good evening, ma'am.
Yes, please.
Ma'am, in the one of the presentation, you have mentioned about P5 free graph. So, can we find a connected domination for any random H3 graphs?
In fact, if the graph under consideration is connected, we can always find a connected dominating set because the entire vertex set gives you a dominating set. Take the entire vertex set. It is a dominating set and the underlying graph is connected. So, if the graph under consideration is a connected graph, it will definitely have a connected dominating set.
Okay. I referred the same paper, and in that triangle free P6 C6 free graph also was there. So we tried for PO free graph also. So, but is that it becomes so routine, no, ma'am? The proof technique, everything, or is there any alternative regarding that?
Alternate proof technique means you will have to find, right?
Okay. I mean, PO free graph P6 C6
the main problem, the main problem in the area of domination is that people are just manipulating, just changing some small conditions and starting publishing papers. The same proof technique, same notations, everything will be repeated apart from some small manipulations, and that affects the credibility of publication from India.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
please don't do that. All of you, please don't do that.
No, ma'am, I'm just a MSc scholar. That time we was just trying to do that. So during the project.
As a starting research work, it is always good, but don't try to publish such results. Take it as a base to make sure that you can do things. That's okay. That's fine. Or you can publish at the level of a student journal. So this comes from a student means it's fine. It's not from a research scholar. It's from a PG student means that will be appreciated.
Thank you. In the while you were presenting, you told you have extended that to 2 more, some global domination.
Global domination number was not introduced by me. The concept was introduced by Professor E. Sampath Kumar. The thing is that the S must be a dominating set of both G and G complement. That was his condition. Then we say that it is a global dominating set.
Yeah. Thank you,
concept
ma'am.
was not introduced by me. That is already in literature and is introduced by Professor E. Sampath Kumar.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're
Hello,
welcome.
ma'am.
Yes, yes, please.
Ma'am, I am Tamil Selvi from Mumbai.
Hi again.
Ma'am, actually, here there is not much scope in Mumbai of graph theory, but I am very much interested. Can you just suggest some of the journals of graph theory?
Journal of Graph Theory is a leading journal. Graphs and
Okay.
combinatorics is there. Discrete
Oh,
mathematics, discrete applied
oh,
mathematics,
okay.
discrete mathematics and algebraic graph theory. Then so
Okay.
many.
Okay. Okay, ma'am. I'll mail you. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hello, ma'am. May I ask?
Yes. Yes, sure.
Am I
Yes.
audible?
Yes, please.
Yes, madam. Age domination is same as domination number of line graph. Then what is
Yes.
the significance of age domination?
While introducing the concept of its domination number, this might not have been known to him. Okay. So maybe that is the reason why such a different parameter was introduced. Regarding many domination parameters, such issues are there. And I found a question, how the complete domination number is 4 for a cube. It's a complete domination number. Maybe you want to ask connected domination number. There is nothing called complete domination number, but there is connected domination number. If it is like that, the opposite corner vertices gives you a dominating set, but they are not connected. Even if you introduce one more vertex, that is with 3 vertices, again, if you try, you can't find a dominating set which is connected. You can have an edge and an independent vertex, but not connected. To have connected, we need at least 4. That is why. Is there any quality result on Wissing's conjecture on distance domination? That I don't know. That I will have to search and tell. You can also look into it. I haven't read papers on distance domination. I'm sorry for that. Domination for dual of a graph. Research papers are there in finding what is the relation between the domination number of a graph and its domination number of a planar graph and its dual. Some 2-3 papers are there in that direction. You can find the reference from the text, Fundamentals of Domination in Graphs. Can we connect domination and decomposition of graphs? In some sense, we can. But there are some restrictions. We need to find, and that does not exist for all graphs. We need to find a dominating set in such a way that every vertex outside S is adjacent exactly to one vertex in S. That gives a partition. And that leads to decomposition. In that way, you can connect domination and decomposition. Can we relate energy of a graph and domination? That I have already mentioned. These 2 parameters are connected by an inequality. There is a relation between energy of a graph and domination number. Any paper about domination? Power of a graph. That was the question. Papers are there connecting domination number of a graph and its power. Obviously, while taking power, the domination number reduces. That is, gamma of G square is always less than or equal to gamma of G. In general, gamma of G raised to M is less than or equal to gamma of G raised to N, where M is greater than or equal to N. We have already reached 4:30. If there are no further questions, shall we conclude the session? Ashamas, shall
Okay,
we
Aparna. For everybody, I thank you once again, and you may please contact please enter the group and leave the chat room now. Okay.
Thank you so much. Once again, thank you TB College and Ashamas for organizing such a wonderful seminar. I am leaving the meeting room. Thank you all.
Thank you.